Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Animel. If you haven't been here before, I'm Mel, the host of this channel. We are springing straight into action for this video because we have a lot of new anime that's coming out, and there is the high possibility that I may not get to see the outdoors this spring season. I will note that this episode will be split into two parts just because there is so much anime coming out. So the part that you're currently watching is all of the new releases that I will be trying to watch all of spring season. If you want to see all of the returning anime that I'm watching this season, please check out my channel to see the episode that has all of the returning anime coming out this spring. The anime on this list will run in chronological order from the first day of release, basically, the earliest, to the latest release date. So first up we have is Spice and Wolf. If you heard of Spice and Wolf before, congratulations, you've been in the anime community long enough to know that we're getting a reboot of Spice and Wolf. Spice and Wolf seems to be a adventure, romance, fantasy anime, so if one of these genres sounds like it's for you, then this may be something to watch. The title kind of indicates the main characters of the story. Spice is indicated as the merchant. One day he encounters a wolf, aka the second part of this title in Spice and Wolf. This wolf is a couple hundred years old and decides to join the merchant on his journey. Hence the adventure component of Spice and Wolf's genre. It looks like this story does eventually evolve into a romance as both of them bond on their journeys. The wolf ends up being someone that the merchant can kind of turn to as someone who has a lot of advice, a lot of knowledge, who is full of wisdom, and is able to read humans and other people when they are telling lies, which could be quite helpful for the merchant. I'm kind of looking forward to this because I have not seen the initial release of Spice and Wolf, which came out in 2008. But seeing as it's been about 16 years since the initial release of the first Spice and Wolf, we'll be getting obviously a revamp in animation, hence why I'm going to be watching this one first, and maybe I'll take a journey and watch the older and initial creation of Spice and Wolf. So like I said, we're going to be trying to go really fast and furious with this list because it is a really long list for me this spring. Next on this list is Bartender Glass of God. This anime is classified as a drama and slice of life anime. And you kind of get that sense when you're watching the trailers because it has this moody-esque type of vibe, as it seems like it's about a bartender who caters to people. That's what bartenders do, right? They make you a drink, they serve you that drink, sometimes they listen to your problems. So I think they take something so simple and they turned it into an anime, but instead it seems like this bartender may have the amazing skill of making the perfect drink for his troubled customers that stumble into his bar. And like the previous anime that I mentioned, Spice and Wolf, Bartender Glass of God 2024 is also a reboot, it seems. The first version or the first iteration of Bartender Glass of God was released in 2006. That one has only 11 episodes. So if this is another one that you had on your list, the 2006 version, then you could probably put that one on hold and watch the 2024 version instead. Aside from the comforting aspect that Bartender Glass of God is giving off as someone who is here to comfort his clientele and help solve their problems, I also hope to get out of this some educational aspects of it. So as you know, and I've mentioned in a lot of my other videos, I really love watching an anime that I can learn stuff from. So my hopes is that within Bartender Glass of God, we could also learn to make some cocktails as he makes them for his clientele. If you're watching A Sign of Affection from winter 2024 and feel a huge gaping hole in your heart like me, then this next one on the list may be for you. A Condition of Love follows two MCs around, a male and a female MC. We've got another romance story, but they are both very contrary to the other. This girl seems to be like roughly around the ages of 15, 16 in high school, has never experienced the emotion or the feeling of love before and has never liked anybody else before, is confessed to one day by one of her classmates. And this classmate seems to have very strong feelings for her. So much so that when she initially turns him down, he decides to ask her out again. And in the clips and the trailers that they've shown for A Condition Called Love, you can see that the male MC is putting his whole heart out there to make sure that the female MC fully understands his feelings, despite him receiving nothing in return. And you start to see the female MC get curious about this thing called love. She's not sure if this is something that she is feeling, but she sees how how it makes this guy feel. So they start dating, and I guess it's kind of a story of exploration for this young teenager who is yet to experience love, find the meaning of love, hence the title, A Condition Called Love.
Also dropping on the 4th of April is Windbreaker. I kind of forgot to record this on camera, so here we go, doing a voiceover with clips. This I've seen be compared to the likes of Tokyo Revengers, which really excites me, minus the time travel aspect, because I really love Tokyo Revengers, but looks like we're getting a delinquent show where our main character only cares about being the strongest and only wants to fight the strongest. He refuses to fight anyone that's weak. So I'm kind of excited for this one because I do like delinquent anime. Just seeing the physical prowess of characters is really interesting and very fun. Oh, and I'll also add that it seems like all of the other characters in this seem to be going to a school that is full of delinquents, and all of these delinquents are tasked with kind of protecting the town to some extent. But our main character, as I mentioned, doesn't really care about all the glory and fame. He just wants to be the strongest and fight the strongest.
A highly anticipated anime that has over 100 and something chapters in the manga right now, Go Go Loser Ranger, is next on this list. If you grew up watching the Power Rangers like I did, then you are thoroughly going to enjoy this anime. It is a classic tale of the Power Rangers spun on its head, where the Power Rangers are actually evil. And no, they're not called the Power Rangers in this anime, they're called the Dragon Keepers, but they're not who you suspect them to be. And it seems like the aliens who have come to invade Earth are actually being oppressed by the Dragon Keepers and almost quasi being held captive by the Dragon Keepers to perform in this Sunday event where the Dragon Keepers are fighting against the aliens, and they are always playing the bad guys, these aliens, while the Dragon Keepers are playing the heroes. Kind of to publicize to society, you know, their status and their goodness. One of these aliens, who is called Foot Soldier D, one day snaps and said, you know what, I've thoroughly had enough. I'm gonna take power into my own hands and I'm going to kill them all. But the problem is that Foot Soldier D doesn't have the skills, the strength, or the intelligence to do any of this. So he has to resort to a lot of scheming, trickery, camouflage in order to infiltrate the Dragon Keepers and take them out one by one. So it's the kind of story that's definitely going to keep you on your toes, while also playing on an aspect of nostalgia, because who doesn't know the Power Rangers? And there's something always uniquely fun about something that you used to know and love and enjoy so much, and then they take it and they warp the idea and the concept completely in new media. With a surge in anime with spies, this next one, Mission Yozakura Family, falls within that same category. While the trailers and the teasers start off relatively dark as the male main character of this story loses his whole family in a car accident to then be taken in by his childhood friend's family, it quickly turns into a lighter and comedic story because one, he does not know that his childhood friend, who he has feelings for, and maybe vice versa, is part of a family of spies. So now that they've taken him into their household, he has to learn how to become a spy himself if he indeed does want to become a part of his family, and maybe marry his childhood friend in the future. And it seems like the male character is faced with the family's crazy antics of them trying to train him, but what also looks like randomly ambushing him within the household at times as they try to train him. But seeing as how a lot of the anime on this list does not fill the comedic void, if you're looking for something to laugh at and laugh with in spring 2024, Mission Yozakura Family may be something for you to add to watch this spring. If you enjoy a little bit of fantasy and witches and curses, and perhaps with some romance mixed in between somehow, Unnamed Memory may be for you. The trailers and the teasers introduce this royal prince who has been cursed by another witch, and it seems like he's not able to marry or get close to any other woman or, you know, be romantically involved with any other woman without cursing that woman as well. So his first idea is, there's this witch in this tower that's kind of treacherous and dangerous. I'm gonna go there, find her, and ask her to break the curse on me if possible. But when he finishes climbing the tower and meets said witch, the witch of Azure Moon, or the Blue Moon, he says, you know what? I was gonna ask you to break my curse, but instead, I think I want to marry you instead. And the witch of the Zure moon is like, I'm sorry, come again? I didn't hear you. I don't think so, but I'll agree to be your wife for some limited amount of time while I learn a way to break the curse for you instead. Because as they go on and they show the scenes for this anime, there is some combat involved, so you got some action too. And in some of the combat and dialogue that's happening, this witch seems to be a couple hundred years old. So even, let's say that Unnamed Memory goes in the direction where these two genuinely do fall in love at some point. This witch is a couple hundred years old, and this prince seems very, very human at first sight, so I can only guess that he's going to die way earlier than she does. By nature, it's kind of captured my curiosity because I do want to see how this goes. This one is quite possibly one of the most publicized, talked about, advertised anime since last year. This anime is called Kaiju No. 8. And while it definitely embodies a lot of the classic, I guess, shonen anime type of things, what makes it different is that our main character is well into adulthood and he's about 32 years old. I feel like when you usually watch a traditional shonen like My Hero, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, I'm sure there are many others that I can name, but that's all I'm gonna give you. Most of the main characters are teenagers or barely adults. Kaiju gives us a break from that shonen trope, I want to call it, and our main character, Kafka, is basically, let's just say he's lost his way in life, like most adults do. His dream and his goal was always to be part of the Kaiju Attack Task Force, but that requires taking a test that he has failed continuously. However, one day he ingests, by accident or forcibly by accident, a small parasite kaiju that gives him kaiju-like abilities. If you don't know what kaiju is, a kaiju is basically monster translated from Japanese. But not only is our main character Kafka in his adult years, but also the rest of the cast. With a small select few like Hikaru, who is the age of 16 and basically a prodigy in the story of Kaiju No. 8, or Reno, who just started working his first job as an 18-year-old. So the story of Kaiju No. 8 is refreshing in the sense that our main characters and most of the cast are in their adult years, which would make more sense when it comes to taking up arms against monsters. You would think that you'd need to have a matured body to do that. Additionally, it's a nice take on how someone who initially had goals and dreams and aspirations that didn't pan out in their early adult years, like their 20s, but because some strange nature of events, he's able to go after his dream one more time and become part of the Kaiju Attack Task Force now.
This next one I'm most excited for, even though I also forgot to record this on video, is the Grimm Variations. It only has 6 episodes. It's going to be in the style of an anthology, and these 6 episodes will cover stories that you and I are both very familiar with, like Cinderella, The Little Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, and perhaps some stories that you're not familiar with, like The Elves and the Shoemaker. Actually, I know that one. Never mind. The Town Musicians of Berman, and the Pied Piper of Hamelin, which I'm sure you're also very familiar with. However, the unique thing about it is that if you grew up listening to fairy tales like I did, then you got to listen to the very happy-go-lucky ones. However, the Grimm Fairy Tales original, which is what a lot of these stories are based on, and what the Grimm Variations will more or less be based on and have some variation to it, as indicated by the title, is a lot darker. So expect this to be dramatic, perhaps have some thriller and some horror elements in it, instead of the beautiful, wonderful fairy tales you used to be told at bedtime.
These are all the anime that I will be watching from all of the new releases for spring 2024. If there are some that you think I should add to my list, even though my list is already plentiful enough, please comment with those anime in the comment section below. Also, let me know what you are most looking forward to this spring 2024. I'd love to hear what you are most excited to watch. Please keep in mind that this list is only of new releases for spring 2024. So if you want to see me talk about what's returning and what I will be watching from the returns, please check out my channel for that video. But that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. This has been another episode of Animel. I am the host, Mel, and you will catch me all on the next one. Bye!